Hello, my name is Mitch, and I draw Blood Force. And today we're going to go back to an interesting time in comics. This is January of 1992. Wheels are in motion. But we're checking out Spider-Man number 18. So for the next little while, we're going to be going over The Revenge of the Sinister Six, which is Erik Larsen's stint on the Todd Spider-Man series. So just before we get started, if you enjoy the channel and if you think you might want to help support me a little bit, maybe get to the point where I can do Blood Force as a profession. That would be nice. Just open up the description. There's links there to my Patreon and Instagram. And also, hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notifications. You probably know the algorithm as well as I do. So, we're doing Spider-Man number 18. So this is the first stint after Todd absconded with his Toddness. Todd's stint on Spider-Man ran all of, not 16 issues. His last issue was 16, but, I think, let's see, Erik Larsen also did Spider-Man number 15 before this. Is that it, though? I think it might be. Yeah, no, Todd did do 1 through 14. Erik Larsen cleaned up for 15, and then Todd did number 16 and was like, okay, I'm out. Because this is shortly before Image Comics becomes a reality. You might note on the cover of issue 16, just before this, we got, this is the last Todd McFarlane comic for Marvel, and got Spidey saying, bye, Todd. Which, at the time, I don't know that he had anything concrete in mind. I think he was just throwing tantrums a little bit. Gotta watch that power meter, Todd. But we are, as of this moment, I think about 4 months away from Spawn number 1. And 3 months away from Youngblood number 1. So, we're well underway into the downfall of comics in a way, really. So, let's just check out some Spider-Man number 18. So, this is a 6-issue series that Erik Larsen drew and wrote himself. I want to say this is the first time Erik Larsen really did a serious stint as a writer. Well, not like stint like a run, but, like just a little 6-issue miniseries. But as far as I know, the only writing experience he has before this is Spider-Man issue 15, with What is the Mutant Factor? Where Spidey is looking for Beast so that he can talk to him about the likelihood of producing a mutant child. And whether they should be thinking about that, which is somewhat heady stuff. But this may have been a bit of a practice run for Savage Dragon, really. And just like, like Erik Larsen, maybe not, because Erik Larsen's a pretty confident dude. He might have just been like, no, I can do this. They just never gave me a chance. So this is his shot to be like, okay, this is what comics are all about. So, we already know by now, but in case you weren't sure in 1992. Oh, first of all, let's talk about the cover. Pretty good. I always liked the Erik Larsen Spider-Man. He gets very bendy. People like to complain about that shit. Which I think is stupid. You get those, you get like feeds and shit where it's like, they got paid to draw this. And they show Spider-Man all twisted up by Erik Larsen. It's like, yeah, that's intentional, He's well aware. But, whatever. Pretty good cover. And, they pop out with the color scheme. That's all good. Get a nice huge shot of Spidey and Ghost Rider, and you might think Spidey and Ghost Rider, that's a weird pair. And it's like, well, there's a little bit of precedent from not too long before this, really, with the new Fantastic Four, which was Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, Wolverine, and the Hulk. It's like, what the fuck is that Fantastic Four? If you're not familiar, you probably are, but, And that, of course, was, what was it? I think Walt Simonson needed a break to catch up. And they got Art Adams to draw, and Art Adams is like, okay, cool. These are the guys I'd like to draw. And he picked like all the most popular guys in Marvel at the time. It's like, yeah, that might sell a bit. Sure. All right, so Revenge of the Sinister Six. Are we going to see some... Oh, it's Rick Parker on lettering. That looks a little bit Heliopolis-ish. And we're going to start out with big old splash page. That means nothing. Followed by big old double page splash, as is tradition with Erik Larsen. And as is tradition with Marvel at this time, really, we're finding out. from the that X-Men stint we did last week. I want to take a quick look and see if there are any, because that is a bit of a theory. So Jim Lee did a bunch of pages set up, double page spread, leading up to getting off of Uncanny X-Men. And we know Erik Larsen loves to use it. So I want to take a quick look and see if anybody else does it around this time. I would think they would. All right, so let's just take a quick look. This one is Erik Larsen from just about 9 months previous. And this is under, I believe, David Michelini? Yeah. And we don't get the splash, double splash. We don't get any kind of spread whatsoever on page 2 and 3. So that's interesting. Because Jim Lee was using the technique at this time. Now, maybe David Michelini is a bit more strict about his scripts, so it doesn't leave Erik Larsen that kind of room to improvise. That's always a possibility, too. Then we got Daredevil by Lee Weeks, May of 91. Lee Weeks is a guy who doesn't have a flashy style that had been around for a while. Nothing of the sort. Then we got Time Fight. And we get our starting splash, and if I recall correctly, we get our double splash. And this is Walt. Walt's been around for a good 20 years by this point. He knows his shit. You're not going to tell Walt how to do his fucking comic book. He's writing this thing, too. Ghost Rider number 12, splash, and double splash. And honestly, not appropriate. This wasn't necessary, and it feels like it didn't really add to it all that much. Like, they're good drawings. You know, it's Javier Salteri's inked by Mark Teixeira. I'll take that all day. You know. But it does not feel appropriate. But it is still the formula. Incredible Hulk, 382, June of 91. Splash, nothing. Also, though, Hulk at this time, written by Peter David. Another guy who I'm sure is very specific with his scripts. Silver Surfer 48 by Ron Mars and Ron Lim. Splash, I doubt it. Yep, no. We did, oh. Look at that, though. Interesting. Now I want to take a look at other surfers of this era and be like, oh, is that a one-off? Or, you know. Todd did do the splash, well, at least the double splash on 2 and 3 in issue 1 of Spider-Man, but that could have just been because it's issue 1 and he's, you know, making a splash, if you will. I mean, it's flashy imagery, kind of. Or yeah. It's flashy something. We get a giant splash here. Maybe that's more the priority, is just getting a big splash in. And then, you know, all the weird Todd panels. So it feels like something that was come up with maybe by Homage Studios. To be honest. Because that is a thing around this time, which is Jim Lee, Wills, and Scott Williams, and whoever else they can rope in. Because that seems to be one of the earliest iterations. Although Todd's doing it too. Yeah, and it feels like maybe just word gets out. Like, yeah, no, this is how you sell some books. And Todd's like, oh, I gotta sell those books. That's my Canadian accent as a Canadian, by the way. It's funny because I've heard Rob Liefeld do that accent, and it's like, that's not, what the fuck is that? That's not Canadian. And then you hear Todd talk, it's like, oh, it's real. That's not a Canadian accent Todd has. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. He's doing it by himself, as Todd normally would, right? All right, so getting back to this, we have a nameless cyborg dude who's trashing a mall, by the looks of it. Spidey and Ghost Rider are trying to take him down. All of this is inconsequential. Every single one of these is like a lame line. Like a lame pun, or not even like a one-liner that Larsen's trying. This is the thing. He likes the quipping Spider-Man, but he insists on having everything he says in the Spider-Man outfit be a quip. And it gets old really fucking fast. Cool shot though. Neat angle. And he's trying stuff here. And you know, I mean, like we're already like, because of the splash double splash, it already feels like this fight's going on for a while. We're 4 pages in. Ghost Rider gets knocked off, and we go for a thing where the bike goes off the ceiling, goes down the wall, and he hops onto it, but there's no real, I don't know, it doesn't feel like he's flipping onto it there or anything. I don't know how successful that was. It's a neat idea, though. I like that he's trying it. And Erik Larsen is also doing the inks on this as well. So he's doing, and he's, you know, this is Marvel, so he's got to get the shit in, like, on schedule. So we're going to test him and see if he can get everything done on time, I guess. And this cyborg is completely oblivious to what's going on around him. And just shooting the place up. Going, what is it? What, Dominic, where are you? Why have you deserted me? And then kind of Transformers and rockets away. Neat shots. I like this kind of stuff. You know, try to use the horizontal panel as much as you can. So stretching out the figure, getting them real low to get a bit of space and get all the shots in. This might be the best Erik Larsen. I'd say the best Erik Larsen gets is probably the Savage Dragon miniseries. This is right around that same kind of realm, really. And after that, he's trying too hard to go fast, and he can't keep up the quality. But we keep getting gigantic shots. And I mean, like if you wanted to go over the dialogue, we can, but it's stuff like, okay, I'll watch the in-flight movie. What's the guy got to do to get some salted peanuts around here? Could you fetch me some Dramamine when you have the chance? Who says it's lonely at the top? I begin to think maybe you shouldn't be driving in your... It's endless. I feel like somebody should have spoken to him. Like he had an editor on this. Was it DeFalco? It was. Well, he's the editor, the chief. Editor's Danny Fingeroth. He should know Spidey. He should have known well enough to be like, dude, ease up. Yeah, this is gigantic. And like all the perspective here is great. Considering we don't have a whole lot of real estate after the two gigantic figures here. But he still manages to get in that distance. That's not bad. And go crashing through something. What are they crashing into? I don't know. That's something. Something on a roof. Shouldn't have crashed into that. And then crashes onto a building, which brings the building down. And it's okay. Everyone was okay except for that guy. Nobody was in the building. Nobody was in like 3 blocks of it. All good. And they assume, of course, that the cyborg guy is now dead. Okay, man, you think you would have done something like this before. And we had a weird moment where Spider-Man swings away with Ghost Rider, like, tucked under his arm here. Being like, drop you off at your bike? Yes! One thing I will note, there is a lot of use of, I assume this is some kind of zipatone, where it's all vertical lines. And I noticed there's a fair bit of zipatone in this book. We don't get very much in Dragon, which, and I think around this time, actually, zipatone starts to go away, essentially. Well, not too long after, because, yeah, they get computer coloring pretty soon. But I like the use of zipatone on this. It feels like it adds extra detail. It feels like it adds a little bit of extra depth or color to it. I'm not even sure. But it looks nice. It looks very nice. And you'll see it on Sandman here too. Yeah, so we're done with whatever the cyborg guy is. Just kind of a no-name. Are we sure this is an Heliopolis? Rick Parker. I mean, that sounds familiar. I'm pretty sure he's a real guy. That looks exactly like Heliopolis, though. Anyway. So we're done with that nameless villain guy who will come back for some reason. So we're going to cut to Sandman, and he's checking up on a family. What's the family called? The Casadas. Okay, so they apparently put him up, and he feels, beholden to him, because Sandman's one of those guys who kind of flip-flops back and forth between being a good guy and a bad guy, and right now he's in kind of a pseudo-good guy phase. So he's just checking up on him, and the Casadas' house explodes. From space, by the looks of it. Sure. I mean, you gotta draw an explosion somehow. It's a tough thing to draw sometimes. And it comes across. It's not like I'm like, what happened to the Casada's house? So I'm just being picky, apparently. And that is motivation for Sandman to go after Dr. Octopus, because Doc Ock threatened the Casadas. Yeah, Dr. Octopus threatened to kill them if I didn't follow his orders and join up with his group, the Sinister Six. Well, I ended up betraying him, so I like to check in on them from time to time to make sure they're okay. That's a very direct thought bubble, but, helpful. I have no idea how to do thought bubbles anymore. I feel like it's been like 30 years since I read thought bubbles. I don't even know if I could do it, yeah. And so, yeah, the Casadas are dead, including this boy, perhaps, child of some kind. Doesn't have to be a boy. Probably got his face burned off, or their face. So he's going to swear revenge on Dr. Octopus. But what I was saying, that Zipatone, I mean, this is a completely different kind, but there's a Zipatone applied to Sandman in all of his shadows, I think. That gives him kind of a granular look. And I think that might have been the point. Yeah, like here. And if that's the case, that's kind of awesome. I like that level of thought. So that was a very efficient use of 2 pages. Let's use those to give Sandman some motivation to go hunt down Dr. Octopus. And meanwhile, Dr. Octopus is purchasing new adamantium arms. So he's never had these before, and he's never had Erik Larsen drawing him for this. Yeah, he did a little bit, but he didn't have the adamantium arms. That's important. And so his adamantium arms now are apparently endless. Anything to make it look good. Like, look at how they fill the entire fucking room. And of course, we get the whole, he gave them the arms, and then he's like, okay, so how about my payment? And he's like, you got it, man. I'm going to get that to you as soon as I have it. As soon as I have it. And so he's going to complain, and what do you think might happen? Oh, he's dead now. Surprise, surprise. He gave him indestructible arms that can act like super fast and fill the room and attack everything all at once. And then, yeah, was surprised when he got killed. Okay, sure. So this is, I think, just an attempt to make Dr. Octopus seem like a credible threat, because Dr. Octopus has never been a threat. I don't know about after this. I know there's some weird shit where he's like taking over Peter's body, and he's like dating Aunt May. I hope not at the same time. I don't honestly know. That's so fucking gross. But, yeah, this is, I guess, about as cool as Dr. Octopus can look. Which is not super cool, but, whatever. I don't know why he couldn't get rid of the fucking Mo haircut. He's got a suit now. He's not wearing his fucking jumper. So he's going to scoop up a whole bunch of guns just because they're there. I mean, he's planning on hiring people, might as well. He was talking to an arms dealer. Might as well take the goods. And the arms are, like I said, limitless in size. So just scoop everything up. And then we're going to cut to marital drama. Because Erik Larsen likes writing about that too. He does. He puts a lot of that in Savage Dragon too, I think. I was never a big fan of his MJ. It might be the big poofy 90s hair. I'm not even sure. And she's like super shrill when he writes her. So the source of the drama in this case is that she got a part in an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. But the problem is, is it a lead? No, I don't think it's quite a lead. I think it's more of a supporting character, but she's going to get some time in anyway. But she does have to have a nude scene, and Peter's got, Peter's like, ooh, I don't know about that, ooh. Which is reasonable. You're allowed to go like, ugh, I got to think about that. He's not saying, like, don't do it. And she flips the fuck out and goes, you're saying don't do it. And he's like, I didn't say don't do it. What the fuck? And she calls him a fucking square, because that's what kids used to call each other when Erik Larsen was a kid. And she leaves. And again, with a type of, maybe not zipatone, but some kind of pattern. I keep saying zipatone. Not everybody might know what zipatone is. Zipatone is like a clear layer, from what I understand. I've never actually seen it. That you stick on, you cut out in the shape of the drawing you want to cover up. So, I would like cut it out, say, in the shape of the legs here, and like place it over, or, place it over and cut it out, I suppose, probably more likely. And I'm not sure if the tone reacts. I don't think that's the case. I think it's just, this is the pattern that's on the tone. And then it ends up, you see it a lot in like, black and white comics quite a bit in the 80s and 90s. And whenever they have to do things like a houndstooth jacket, whatever they have to do, whenever they're trying to do like texture stuff, you see a lot of it. And like I said, he's just using a lot in this particular stretch. So now we're basically cutting back to Sandman, who is meeting up with the Freaky Five. There we go. You can't say the Frightful Four. It's not the Sinister Six, not yet. Because they're all about getting revenge on Dr. Octopus. So we got Vulture, Mysterio, Electro, and Hobgoblin sitting in for a Green Goblin, because I think at this time there isn't really a Green Goblin. I believe Harry's about to become the Green Goblin again, and Norman's still dead. And nice gigantic shot of Spider-Man swinging away here. And Sandman basically finds him. He stood on a roof. Oh, this is the roof of the Daily Bugle. Okay, and figured that Spider-Man would probably swing by at some point. That's actually reasonable. And the deal is that Sandman does not trust the Freaky Five. So, he's going to basically ask Spider-Man to come in as backup. And just kind of watch his back on this one. And again, more zipatone on the asphalt here. He's going a little too hard on it, really. But I like these angles he comes up with. He's able to do these fairly easily. So, as we saw in Savage Dragon, Erik Larsen fairly economical about just getting a quick scene in. Which is nice. So now we're at a warehouse, and Freaky Five are sneaking up on Dr. Octopus. And they're going to surprise him. But he knows they're coming. What are the odds? And we get Spider-Man lurking up here in the shadows. Nice use of the vertical panel. I like that quite a bit. And they're going to have their comfort. Give it up, Octopus. It's all over. Funny. That's just what I was going to say to you. That's what Dr. Octopus sounds like. And somebody else is going to crash the party very, very soon. Not this issue, though. Maybe next issue. Oh, and we're post-Infinity Gauntlet. Yeah, I guess we would be, wouldn't we? So this is the Infinity Watch. When Adam Warlock has the Infinity Gauntlet. And he's, I don't know, doing something. He's hopping around. Angel Medina drew that, eh? I don't remember that being any good. Okay. All right, and that is it for Spider-Man number 18. So, like I said, yeah, not too bad at packing in a bit of story and still getting a lengthy fight scene at the beginning. 9 pages in a Marvel book. 2 pages of Sandman getting motivation. 4 pages of Dr. Octopus demonstrating his new indestructible arms, 2 pages of marital drama, 1 page of getting Sandman back in with the bad guys, 2 pages of Sandman and Spidey talking, and 2, man, yeah, damn, 2-page scenes, a lot of them. Not too bad. All right, so next time we're going straight ahead to Spider-Man number 19. What else would we do? So that'll do it for this one. Thanks very much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notifications. Open the description, check out my links. You can go subscribe on my Patreon. That's where all of the Blood Force stuff ends up, as well as these videos before they end up on YouTube, usually a week or so in advance. In addition, if you go over to my Instagram, commissions are now open, so you can get me to try and approximate something like this. It's not gonna be that, but like, you know, I can draw something for you. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.